We are going to continue studying about uh, the studies that we are developing on inner transformation, and we were talking about righteousness. The first, let me see if I can get back a little bit just for us to see. We were talking about discourse, self-awareness, and inner transformation, about righteousness, frugality, and temperance. And we were using as basis the blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. But we are using from the Sermon of the Mountain, that's what we are going to be starting today, the one that is very, one of the teachings from Jesus that is very similar, that is talking about blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for there is the kingdom of heaven. This point where we are already giving ourselves into uh, a, let's say, a productive action is where many times we will be facing this kind of persecution. So first, Jesus were only talking about the advantages of righteousness. Now, he's talking about us really engaging in actions that will probably cause discomfort in many people, in many of those that surround us. So this is where we see that persecution is actually, like it says here, a systematic mistreatment of an individual or group by another group. The most familiar forms of persecution that we have are religious, ethnic, and political persecutions, and they can, of course, overlap. And the inflicting of suffering, harassment, isolation, imprisonment, fear, pain, and exclusion. So those are forms that we will see here that are more imposed to us by individuals or by groups that they do not agree with the choices we have made. And by not agreeing, and it's always important for us to be very careful, it's important for us to pay attention, because we can be a bunch of people not agreeing with something, and it doesn't mean that we are right? That's why here it's emphasized righteousness. So here we are talking about people that are looking for righteousness, that are engaging their behavior in terms of righteousness. And in this sense, persecution frequently comes in verbal form, usually by way of unkind, mockery, and reproachable language. And in today's society, the act of revealing that you are somehow religious or spiritual may bring on smirks and laughs, rude and disgusting comments, alienation, and even retaliation. Since our role here is to talk about spiritual thing and spiritual values, we are not even going to get into other areas, other situations that we have in life, that we may agree or not agree, that we may be acting in righteousness or not. We are just talking here, we're going to be focusing our conversation and reflections today on those spiritual aspects. And even when we are talking about religious and spiritual aspects, we will see how much misunderstanding there is, and how much we will find people from belonging to one creed, one belief or the other, disagreeing with the other, not respecting individual choices, some of them far away from righteousness, others working towards righteousness through different paths. But we will find all this kind of persecution, because at the end of the day, we may say that we do not like people to be all the same, like little robots, but that's what we wanted them to be, right? Uh, and we will be the model because of course the way we think is the right way, right? And we want other people to follow. I love that phrase that we have in this book, God's breath is everywhere, by Regis, I forgot his last name. And he says that there are over 5,000 different creeds and religions in the world, but don't worry because yours is the right one, right? So this is the way that we think about, and we should be content in 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 simply understand that I mean we are pleased with our ways, and that should never be a motive to persecute, to say harsh things or bad things about the values of other people. And this is one very important point that we always make when we are talking about spiritism. Even because to follow spiritism, not necessarily you have to give up on other personal religions that you have been committed, from all your life or through family, or any other way that have brought sympathy uh, on yourself to a way of a particular religion to think. Is spiritism can walk along any religion quite fine. It's just a matter of us not dismissing the values of others. Okay, any comments or questions? Yes, Sonia, go ahead.
I have a question. Then I understand here we are talking about incarnate and discarnate. These these prosecutes come from both. And then I can understand because I saw this picture about spirits of cynicism, anger, mocking, and
Mhm.
gas. Then come to my mind in our life every time when we are trying, because I feel we still trying to take this way of rightness. Some things happening around us try to catch us and turn us from this path. Is that what I understand about we are talking here? Like it's not direct prosecute us, but for example, if a group of friends are with gossip, talking about bad things or behavior in in a bad way, then if you are between them, we feel like this kind of energy then could shadow our beliefs.
Yeah, it's what we call normally the peer pressure, right? We all suffer the pressure of the groups, right? That they feel uncomfortable to um, to have people or to have friends that think they different than they do. In a way, we are always looking for validation, right? And even when we are searching for, which is the case here and what we are talking about, we are striving to go through the paths of righteousness. There is always this question in the back of our minds is, am I going to be able to do that? It is so much what I am still, I still am not, right? I mean, it's so easy for us still to behave in the old ways, let's say it like this, and am I going to succeed or not? Or so there are all those doubts in our heads, or and even because there are ways that there are times that we will see that we failed completely, but still we are not thinking about giving up. And then we have people that are around us, friends, family, other people, colleagues from the work, that not necessarily is going to be validating our choices and go to the extreme of criticizing, of mocking. Oh, I know you're never going to do that. I mean, you know and so they discourage us, they engage in this kind of gossip. Oh, did you see her now trying to be the good one, or preaching us moral lessons, because it's going to be part of our conversation. And worse than that is that some of them really will engage in actions to really active actions to really take us away from righteousness, with those criticism and persecutions, and gossiping in a way that can affect our lives, can affect the environments that we attend. So it's complicated. That's why the Spirit, Emmanuel says that to start in this path is easy, to continue is, difficult, and to reach the end is a huge sacrifice. It's, and not just the sacrifice of taming ourselves, because this is what we are doing. We are in the process of taming ourselves, but we are dealing with emotions, with habits that have been rooted in us for quite so long. And and we have our personal weaknesses and doubts. So imagine adding all of that, to that also all the persecution and the um, non-validation from others. That's why it's so hard. And we normally say it's a very lonely path
Yeah.
somehow. That's why, to have a group of people like we do have it, like we have in the Spiritist Center, at least nourishes us and encourage us to go on, because you say, no, there are other people like me. They do exist. They are going through the same path, even if they were not people that I know since I was a child, that went to school with me, college, work with me, that are from blood of my blood. There are other people like that. And so I'm not crazy, right? Or I'm going the right track. So
Mhm.
this is why it's so important.
Yeah. Jussara,
Yes.
I, I feel that many times, throughout the years, you want to reveal what you believe in Spiritism. And I found out that if we say anything like it says here, beautifully said, that uh, you get smirks or rudeness. Even a smirk is enough to turn you off.
Mhm.
And I find sometimes that it's best. No, I find sometimes that maybe I need to, I guess, educate myself much more or be much more patient. What they're telling us here, that when we are persecuted, so called, laughed at sometimes because they don't understand, I kind of turn my head and say, right now I can't change anyone but myself, and have patience with it, and maybe find other ways to not get upset by it, because I really want people to know what we're learning and how important this is, that we're here for what, we're here to improve and to do better and live a good life. But it's so, like you said, so difficult because of, I don't know, is it the past that people still don't understand what spiritism is all about? And, I just don't know what to do sometimes. Maybe it's best to keep quiet, not say much, and leave it in the hands of our God. I don't know. I mean,
Yes, Sarita, you said it very well. And while you was talking, I was thinking, I think it's that is the reason why so many wise spirits always mention that it's much more important for us to focus on teaching by examples than by words.
yeah. Mhm.
Because the words, as we already could see, right, all of us here, I imagine we met this already, this mercs, like you said, all of this, um, are not what exactly going to convince people. uh, and it's more when they see our change in behavior, like I say, the way we go through happiness or sadness in life, and is still, when very happy, we are not going to lose our ways, and when very sad, we are not going to be just rebellious and all of this. And and like we always mention, I understand how frustrating that is, because of course I live that as well. I mean, uh, not having people that we love, that we are sure would benefit so much if they would start engaging in at least getting to know a bit more of spiritual values.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's the only thing we can do. And using again that phrase from Gandhi, be the change you want to see in the world.
Mhm.
uh, the thing is, there's so much at stake here, or so much, so many things that we can consider actually. Like for instance, there is vanity as well. Okay, we like people to say, oh, you're already going into the good word, the good path. So we, like we were saying before, the validation is not so much that we want them to follow our steps, but we want their approval as well. And because of validation, because of vanity and pride, but also because we, of course, we are finding happiness and peace, and we want them to find happiness and peace as well. So there is a lot of things, I think, a lot of emotions, different emotions into play. But for the moment, even yesterday when I was giving a talk, there is one passage when Joanna De Angelis was says that when we meet this kind of persecution in gratitude, we should always meet all of this with a smile.
Yeah.
So I think, when people come and start questioning the validity of our beliefs, we just say, it's
Okay.
your right.
Mm.
It's your right to follow the way you think is good for you. It's my right to follow the way I think is good for me. And just that, you see. uh, and really, for the moment, we barely can deal with changing ourselves,
Oh, right.
right?
Yes.
Maybe in the future we will be one of those heroic characters that we see in the books of Emmanuel and other books, that they will give their lives, um, they will give their lives to help others to move further, right? But for the time being, if we manage to uh, make ourselves a little better,
Yes.
it's already a huge task.
Yes. Thank you. That's beautiful. Thank you, Jussara.
But the point here, and this is also from the talk that I was giving yesterday when talk about faithfulness and fidelity, it is us not to lose heart. It's for us not to lose heart. Okay, we have established an ideal. It's not going to come without difficulties, struggles, even when we talk about a personal level. I recognize one of my personality traits that is not good. It's not because I know that is, I have something that it's not good that I want to get rid that overnight is going to move away. I will have to be dealing with that until I manage to establish a new pattern of behavior. And it's something that is not going to happen automatically. So there is a lot of struggles already that we have to do when dealing with our own things
Yes.
and trying to move away. So if we keep on paying attention to people that will try to discourage us, and many times even motivated by spirits who do not want us to move away from them, to grow spiritually speaking, then we are going to delay our progress because the progress is inevitable.
Yes.
It's like growing up. I cannot say, you know what, I love to be 4 years old, I don't want to grow anymore. It's against nature. It's never going to happen. Even if you are 4 years old and 1 day and 2 days and 3 days, you can keep 4 years for 365 days, but that's it, right? Or 64, because the next one you're going to be 5 years old. It's inevitable.
Yeah.
I can cry, I can rebel, I can curse, I can blame God, I can do whatever I want to do, but it's going to happen. So it is happening for us, and it's going to happen to others as well. So the faster we acknowledge that and move away from everything that is becoming a hindering in our path, the better it will be. And one of the things is, that's why they say pride, because at the end of the day, we want people to come and say, oh, what a good pat in the back and say, oh, what a good work you're doing. Oh, you're a model citizen. We want that, right? We want to feel, because we need the motivation, but we will not find this. And we have to understand that just being in the path of righteousness should be reward enough for us to move on.
Okay.
Okay, let's see here. So continue with this, blessed are those who persecute. The important thing to do is to follow Jesus' advice and to persist on doing good and being righteous, because only through this persistence we will achieve spiritual improvement. One should never bow down to error and should always live by the moral and ethical values that we learn from human laws, remembering that remembering above all those that we learn from God's laws, thus demonstrating our constant awareness that we dwell in eternity. So again, persistence, faithfulness to our ideals, regardless whether the world is showing appreciation or not, in relation to what we are doing, to how we behavior. Even then, it's not because everyone is doing a bad thing that we can say, oh, I can do a bad thing as well because everyone else is doing it. We already have human laws that are each time becoming more and more perfect. Of course, we are far from, the living in the ideal society with ideal laws, but it's becoming better. So we already have the human laws to guide us. And on top of everything else, we understand that there are God's laws. And we know that through, or we know some of it at least, through all the literature that we have uh, already available to us. And at the same time, like there is this question, I think is 621, where is written the laws of God? And the reply from the Spirit, in our conscience. So even if we didn't have anything written in relation to God's laws, according to the spirits, the highly evolved spirits, the God's laws is written in our conscience. We will know on the back of our minds when we are not going through the right track, or if we are really acting as righteous people. Questions, comments, and of course the image of Gandhi here is that, he managed to free his people without any demonstration of violence.
Mm.
He said, we are not going to engage in wars, in anything. They had to make huge sacrifices because they start not consuming products from England that were the dominating people,
Mhm.
and England depended on them, to improve their economy. And all of a sudden, they started living only of what they had in their lands. Even the material for their clothes they started making there, no longer depending on the anything from the people that were dominating them. And so, with time and this resilience that came, of course, with huge sacrifices, they managed to free themselves because it was no longer in the British interest to continue in, occupying the lands, and they had other lands, and so they left. So we see that we can do that all, even very difficult changes without resorting to anything that goes against righteousness. Okay, any comments, questions?
Mm.
I object to violence because when it appears to do good, the good is only temporary. The evil it does, it's permanent. So we see here what Mahatma Gandhi uh, talks about. And remember that when we are talking about violence, it's not just wars. We are talking of any kind of persecution, of going after someone. It's a violent act, right? When I'm gossiping about someone, it's violence. I'm doing something against that person. I'm staining that person's reputation. So it's not a good thing. So what is the righteous person? Jesus embodies righteousness, and righteous people will try to follow his footsteps during their lives. Remember, we always like to mention here that the way spiritists regard Jesus is like, a pure spirit, a brother that has already achieved the highest level of purification that is. We do not worship the man, we respect and understand that Jesus' examples is the natural path of each one of us. So it's like having, an older brother or a mother and a father that will say, I already went through this way. I know which way is going to be more convenient to you. I'm here to talk to you out of experience.
Mm.
So the experience of Jesus, the examples, and he showed us how he could, everything that he taught was actually affirmed by his actions. So this is why, I'm the way to truth and life, because it is the path that we have to follow. For righteous people, all their daily actions, everything that they think about, every decision that they make, everything that they read and look at will be done in the same way that Jesus would have done them. And we have that, what would Jesus do, right? But I mean, it's a way of thinking. You want to substitute Jesus by any other, spirit that you consider, to be your model and guide. That's fine too. I mean, we have to understand that it's important, and that's why, when we are working on our inner transformation, we are in a way also contributing to the whole progress of humanity, because whether we are seeing it or not, we are impacting other people's lives as well. People are looking at us. That's why they are sometimes so fast in pointing their fingers when we do something bad. Well, they see the bad, but they see the good as well. They don't say anything about the good. Oh, I saw when you helped that person, right? No one comes to you and say that. But they say they will come. I saw when you didn't help that person, right?
Yeah.
So they are seeing, they are actually internalizing all of that. And this is where we gather strength from each other, from, the struggles and the successes from each one of us. Okay.
Yes. And it's so beautiful, just like you explained with Muhammad Gandhi, how our Father sends us messengers, and especially with Allan Kardec, especially with Spiritism. And then we have people like Gandhi, and we have Martin Luther King that continue to strive in Jesus's path, reminding us, throwing us reminders, listen, follow, and look, be kind to each other, do the right thing, follow the good life, follow Jesus' steps, whatever religion, just be good people, do the best that you can. But it is amazing how we continue to receive all these signs, and sad for those that don't understand. But our job individually is to do what we have to do and follow Jesus's footsteps in the best way that we can, and showing through action, not so much like you explained so beautiful, through action, not so much talk. You have to show, you know, how you live your life, and people will see. It'll take time, but they will see.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it is interesting to notice that this beatitude does not say, blessed are the righteous. Rather, it says, blessed are those who hunger and thirst after righteousness,
Mm.
for they shall be filled. It seems that there is implied in this blessing an understanding that we are being challenged to commit ourselves to a process, a journey, an ongoing reaching out for the righteousness of God. So, you see, here we are still talking about the parts of the Beatitudes, that shows a reward. You go after righteousness, right? You hunger for that, you thirst for that, and you shall be filled. So there is a reward, that if I go in this direction, I will be receiving that. When we talk about the right, blessed are those that are persecuted by, because of they are devoting themselves to the cause of righteousness, it's already the next step, where we have already achieved an understanding all these virtues, how much they are important in us. So, but the thing, like this picture show us, it is a process. We cannot, be afraid to say, okay, I'm still climbing it. And there is still a long way to go, but I'm climbing it already. There were times that we would be there, we would see the ladder there, and with neon signs, right? So right, like you
Yeah.
said, there are so many signs, neon signs saying, here,
Yeah.
here's the path to happen. And then we would say, no, I don't want to go through this way, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's too much work. There are too many steps. I'm never going to do that. We would maybe not even see the ladder at first. Then we see and say no. And then we said, well, okay, maybe it's not going to be that hard.
Yeah.
And yes, it is going to be hard, right?
Mm.
Maybe we say when we reach the middle or one third of the ladder, we will say, oh my God, I can't go anymore. And then you say, what am I going to do now? Am I going to lose all this work? Or am I going to continue just climbing? And this, I think, is what happens to us sometimes. There comes to a point where I said, oh my God, I'm so exhausted. I don't think I have the energy to move up. But we don't want it to move down as well. We
Mm.
don't want it to have to start all over again, right? And maybe we will reduce our speed, but never going backwards. That's what we should do. And we understand that is in this journey, there are going to be moments that we will have more energy, right? And other moments that not so much. And it's when someone is going to help us to, stay where you are, but don't go back.
Yes.
Don't worry about moving up too much, but that don't go down. Don't go down, right? So this is an important thing for us to think about. Yes. Any comments? Yes, Sonia.
This sentence is so important for me. A blessing to understand that we are being challenged to commit ourselves to a process. Because after all those lessons, and still trying to practice all this work, and every time when I fail, then I feel bad with myself.
Yes.
And I'm not feel, oh, it's okay, it's one mistake. No, I really think
Mm.
I should be quiet. I should
Mhm.
silence myself or not replying that that thing. Then and this sentence touch myself, like cure myself. My question. This is a process, a journey. Then at least I can recognize, I can feel I should make different in that time. Then I think it's so important for me, because I ask myself every time when I fail, then I should do different. Then oh my goodness, again.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's why I always repeat that. You see, uh, we have to be mindful of our possibilities as well. Many times, and this is what leads a lot of people to fail. We really want to do more than we are capable of doing. And then because I'm not capable of doing the way I think it has to be done, you see, I give up. Again, it's like, playing the piano, right? I'm going to have 10 piano lessons and I want to play like Beethoven. right? I mean, oh, okay. A month later, I will say, no, I'm never going to be able to do that. I mean, if we do not continue studying and practicing and doing the hard work, yes, you're never gonna be able to play the piano. Okay, the progress is inevitable, like I said. It can
I
take
love your example.
right, but this is the point, and this is what we have to understand. At this point, we are not failing on purpose. We are not consciously, thinking I'm going to engage myself in a niveau, um, reaction or action, right? It's just that sometimes you cannot deal with one thing or the other as you would like to have dealt with, and then you have to say, okay, I still have to accept that this is a difficult area for me, and I will keep on working on this, and look at the glass half full. Look what I have done already. I'm not going to be looking just what is missing. If I just focus on what is missing, we are going to be frustrated, and probably we will not find the energy to continue filling up the glass, you see. But if I look at what I have already accomplished, even if it's, not even half, okay? It's half of the half of the half of the half. I'm doing something already. And this is the reason why I repeat that is not just for yourselves, it's for myself to hear as well, because I'm very strict with myself, is because otherwise, if we keep with these high expectations that we are still not capable of fulfilling, we are not going to be able to go on. We are going to lose motivation, because I say, oh no, and since we are talking about persecution and mocking and judgment from other people, they will come and say, and always point our failures, like, right? They will, oh, I saw when you did do that, or you didn't do that, or and so we have to be conscious that, like they say here, is a process, is a journey, and it's going to be taking a lot of time, a lot of effort. There will be wonderful moments in the way, there will be frustrations, disappointments, but we will be going on. Times that we are going to slow down because of circumstances of life, times where we can, now I can catch up and I will be doing more things. But it's not for us to accommodate. The idea here is not to say, no, it's good enough. You already did your quota for this incarnation. No, it's just being realistic with our possibilities. I always have to push a bit further, but not too much further. Because otherwise, if we push right too much, it can break, right? We cannot be able to do that. And many times we see people giving up, not succeeding in this journey, exactly because they exaggerated, and they took for granted their weaknesses and lack of possibility. Yeah, okay, I can go 5 miles per hour. Okay, there are people that go 50. Okay, they go 50. I keep on going my 5 miles per hour, because if I strain my motor too much, it's going to burn, right? And I will not be able to do that. Remember the tale from the hare and the turtle, right?
Yeah.
It's exactly like that. Exactly like that. We want to be the hare on this story.
Yeah.
O coelho.
Yeah, yeah. What I learned or read in that occasions, then I can be with myself and read one book
Yeah.
like Chico Xavier book, some story, and I can feel
Mm.
not only the lessons there or the story per se, but one kind of energy come from this kind of attitude. Read a good book,
Mhm.
and then it's like fulfill myself with some serenity for the next, because I know it's always the next challenge.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, there is always the next. It's just that sometimes we need a little break, right, to get our strength and go through the. Okay, now I'm ready. Let's go to the next challenge, right? Yes,
Mhm.
this is the way it is. Let's see if I guess what it. Okay, so this we're going to cover next week. Okay. Anything else you would like to say?
All I know, Jussara, is that these lessons that are given are so precious, especially when one is going through difficulties. And every time I put on the lesson, you uplift us. And it's like we said before, you have, God gives us certain time to send those that are going to help. And you're one bright light. And I am so grateful because, uh, like Sonia just said, you when you have difficulties, you open up a book, and it's a constant lighting of helping. And I feel the lighting. Sometimes oh, I did this, I shouldn't have done that. Oh my God. I go, and all you have to do is just pick one book up, read, and think of the lessons, and it uplifts you. So it's a constant job. It is every day. You can't let go. You can't just say, okay, well, I'm fine today because tomorrow's another day. And it's just a work, that continuous work. But we are so grateful for these little classes. We call it, an hour or so, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
Keeps us going, and I'm just grateful. That's all. I'm in the right place, and we have that ladder to climb, and that's perfectly fine because I understand just a bit more.
Yeah, thank you, Soraya, for saying that. It's for, I guess, for all of us, it's so important, like I said, because this is the validation that we need as well, seeing more people, seeing that, having this trust in the world and hope, because like us there are so many other people that are doing that as well, maybe in spiritism, maybe in other religions, in other philosophies, but the thing is, from what we have been learning from the spirits now, there is a hole in us that we all are feeling the need to be fulfilled, and still we may be looking to fill it up, this hole, with things that are not going to bring us the satisfaction we are needing, because it's more in relation to this spiritual values. But little by little people are moving towards that, because it's like we said before, is the progress. And I think that when we are together, when we gather here, it doesn't matter if we are just a few. It gives us so much motivation, and people that are going to be following this, like the today or other times, or there will be there that for us to listen. And life is, like Sonia said, is constantly bringing us so many challenges, right? And yes, and we have to be able to to feel to feel grateful as well for all these things that at the same time that the challenges are coming, they are giving us also the how to counteract all of this. Okay, this is a natural process of your growth, but I will give you things that will contribute for you to be able to deal with each and every phase. And I think I also consider what we have here as so important for us to be able to become winners right at the end of this journey and others that will come as well. Thank you. Can you do the final prayer for us, Zoraida, please?
Absolutely. Yes.